San Antonio's new home market is absolutely on fire right now, and it can be overwhelming trying to figure out which neighborhood to look at with hundreds across the city, whether you're looking at the $200,000 starter homes, the more mid-range, bigger move-up homes for your growing family, or that $1 million dream estate. It is hard to pick out which community you need to focus on. But San Antonio has the perfect neighborhood for your situation. So let's dive in and talk about some of the hottest new home construction developments in all of San Antonio. So let's start off with the new construction market conditions. So the current conditions, you currently have about 4,200 homes for sale, and these are all brand new homes. So for those of you guys coming from smaller markets, yes, that is just new construction homes in San Antonio, which is one of the largest new construction markets in the entire country. This 4,200 number is up about 18% from last year. So we are getting more of these new homes that are staying on the market. They're building more. That's also just the overall market conditions because there's not as many people buying homes right now as there have been in years past. Having done real estate for a long time now, this is probably the best, most buyer-friendly market that we've seen since well before the pandemic days of 2020. Back then, those new homes were selling on average in like a week or less. I mean, it was literally bidding wars lined up at these new neighborhoods, and there was people just putting their name down for the house. Like, hey, I want this floor plan, put my name down, put my name down. They didn't really care what prices were. But now the average days on market is a little over 3 months for those new construction homes. So you can see a lot more homes sitting on the market, which leads to a lot more, leverage for you as a buyer. In fact, there were over 4,000 new homes started in Q4 of 2024 alone. The market itself is so hot here in San Antonio, in my opinion, is because of the incentives that these builders are offering. So compared to a lot of the other areas of the country where there's not as much new construction, you're having to get stuck with these 6.5–7% interest rates that the market's just been sitting at for years now. But with new construction, especially here in San Antonio, there's a lot of these builders that are offering interest rates as low as I've seen some as low as 2.99 to 3.99%. But whether it's you guys from military that are moving here to Military City, USA in San Antonio, or just you guys looking for, your next home in this great city of San Antonio for, your job that you're getting relocated here for, or just, want a better pace of living and better life, here in San Antonio. Each of these builders has multiple different loan programs from VA loans to FHA to USDA products with 0% down in some of these more rural areas. I'll give you one example on those incentives. A client of mine just recently had a home that they closed. I won't tell the builder, but because these incentives are not quite there anymore, but they got a 4.5% interest rate on the house, and that's fixed rate 30 years. That is not adjustable. 4.5% fixed rate, whereas the market rate is like 6.5%. So you can see it. I mean, it makes a drastic difference on your payment. They also got their entire closing costs covered. This was a VA buyer, so they paid $0 out of pocket for this house. On top of that, they got washer and dryer, refrigerator. They gave basically everything to this buyer to be able to get this house and get them this house. So it was an incredibly good deal for them, an incredibly good deal for a lot of people, and that's why a lot of these people are going new construction instead of buying these pre-owned homes. Now, I know you guys came for the community, so let's talk about those next. But before we get into that, I want to introduce myself real quick. My name is Michael McCall, real estate agent here in San Antonio area. Born and raised here, lived here my entire life, absolutely love it here, and have helped hundreds of families just like you move here to the San Antonio area. Having a new construction background and actually having an engineering degree and working in construction before I got into being a real estate agent, working with these new home communities is something that I absolutely love. It's kind of like walking into a candy store as a kid, like a kid in the candy store. That's the old saying, right? I absolutely love helping clients buy these new homes because it is just such a unique and different experience than just going out and shopping and finding these existing homes that have some problems and things like that, right? So if you want to see more information about, the San Antonio area, about these new home communities in San Antonio, about the entire market in San Antonio, I would love for you guys to subscribe. And if you have any questions about moving here, of course, you can reach out at any point in time. I'm here to help you guys with whatever questions that you do have. Plus, you'll get to follow along as I go through the entire city of San Antonio, hitting every single corner, talking about every single suburb and new home community, all the stuff along the way, and share a bunch of resources to kind of help you guys with the move. Now, for the first section, let's not waste any more time. We are going to get into those high-end luxury $1 million estate home communities. The first one we're going to talk about is the newest and greatest community up in Bernie, which is George's Ranch. This is a 1,140 acre community, going to be about 801 acre home sites. This is pure high-end luxury, basically all $1 million estates in this community. It was a home to the 2025 Parade of Homes with multiple high-end luxury builders, and especially some big name custom luxury builders that are local to San Antonio, such as Lifestyle by Stadler and KC Custom Homes. It's got model homes there in the community communities such as are built by Perry, Toll Brothers, and Monticello. All three outstanding builders with homes available for sale already. You can also go and buy some of those parade homes. Those are currently for sale right now. So if you got any questions about those, reach out. I love talking about these new home communities, especially these luxury ones like this. George's Ranch is going to take about 15 years to completely build out. It's got a guarded, gated community. It's going to have some really unique amenities. It's going to have what they call George's Party Barn. So it's going to be like a social gathering place where they're going to have like dance nights and, concerts. It's also going to have, kind of like green space area with pickleball courts. It's going to have a fitness center. It's going to be very, very unique and not what you would typically see in a community like this. On top of the homes that are currently for sale, in future phases, you're actually going to be able to purchase these lots and actually bring in your own builder. They have to be approved by the community, but and there's specific restrictions that go with the HOA. But the HOA itself, being guarded and gated and having some of these amenities like I was talking about, is very, very low. It's actually $770 to $870 a year, depending on which section you're in. You're also going to have fiber internet throughout the entire community, and the price range is going to be basically $800,000, $900,000, all the way up to $2 million plus. And on top of that, you are going to have a relatively low tax rate compared to the San Antonio area, but actually a little higher compared to the rest of the Bernie area. It's at like 2.12%, and that is because there is a water control district for this community. A lot of these newer neighborhoods are starting to add some of that stuff to build out the infrastructure because the cities themselves, as a lot of you guys talk about down in the comments, can't maintain the water supply and utilities for these communities. So they're going to have to bring them in from elsewhere. And so they're kind of doing a little bit more infrastructure development to make sure these communities are set up and well put together for the duration, the lifetime of the communities. Next up, just down the road in Bulverde is Bell Oaks Ranch. So this is Comal ISD, Smithson Valley Schools. Bell Oaks Ranch is all acreage community as well. It has gated entry. Again, all custom builders, but you have a lot of different custom builders in this one that have bought lots and are building them to sell. So that is a unique thing about Bell Oaks Ranch compared to a lot of the acreage communities that typically just sell the lots and then you build your own custom home. But this has that option where you can buy a number of different lots that are available for sale in this community, both resale and I think there's some left by the developer. There might not be any, it might just be resales at this point. But the spec homes that are available from the builders, there are tons and tons of builders. Some of my favorites in there, JLP Builders, Journey Homes. You've got Casa Domain that's built a couple up in there, Everview. I mean, there's a number of different builders. Urbania, Sitterly, Monticello is also in there as well. So you've got a bunch of different builders, and the big thing about Bell Oaks is that you have a ton of big, huge trees. I mean, it's a really, really nice neighborhood with not a lot of open space. It's got a lot of big oak trees, cedar trees, and everything on these lots, so you get a lot more privacy. It feels a lot more secluded back there on your property. The amenity center back there is really nice as well. It's got like an event center right next to where the pool's at. It's got a splash pad for the kids, in addition to like a playground, a pickleball, basketball, and volleyball court, and tons of open green space too out there by the amenity center, just to do whatever you want to do. And a great thing about Bell Oaks is that it has a super low property tax rate at 1.74%. Next up is Enchanted Bluff. So Enchanted Bluff is over in Garden Ridge, which is kind of a little hidden gem of San Antonio, if I must say so myself. It is a luxury community, lots of higher end homes there. There's really nothing in a super affordable price point. Comal ISD there as well, with the new Davenport High School, which is right there in the community of Garden Ridge. So that's a big, big plus, having that really close by. Enchanted Bluff is a smaller community. It's just in that first phase of development. That Unit 1 is the only thing that's open. It's got about 65-ish lots available with few different builders. They had the 2024 parade of homes there as well, but you've got Sitterly and Toll Brothers, as well as Monticello and a couple other custom builders that built some homes for the parade of homes, but those are the three big ones: Sitterly, Monticello, and Toll Brothers. These are all 1 acre plus lots of big oak trees in here as well. And again, this is in the very early stages of the build, and a couple of those, I think parade homes are actually still available for sale from 2024, so you can go take a look at those and see if that's something you'd be interested in too. Now, one thing I will say, so if you guys haven't seen it already, I did do a video about some of the top wealthy neighborhoods in San Antonio. You can take a look at that up here. Garden Ridge is one that I actually left out, and I had a lot of people in the comments that were talking about why did I leave Garden Ridge out. Well, it was just not one that I decided to put in that list, but it doesn't mean that it's not one of the top luxury areas of San Antonio. So if you've got any other suggestions throughout this whole video of neighborhoods that I'm missing, I would love to hear it. Just helps people in the comments too to have those conversations, and if they're looking for other neighborhoods, give your suggestions of which ones you like the best too. Next up is Chavano Highlands. So Chavano Highlands is a community that sold really, really quickly. So as we've talked about, it's a very buyer-friendly market. A lot of these homes, especially these higher-end homes, are sitting on the market a little bit longer. Chavano Highlands is $1 million plus homes. You've got Toll Brothers and Monticello in here. You can see a theme here. Toll Brothers and Monticello are in a lot of these different communities. But Chavano Highlands doesn't really, I don't think they have any homes currently for sale right now, because they've got what they have there is already completely sold out, and they are getting ready to open a new phase here very, very soon. Looking at the neighborhood itself, it is just north of Chavano Park. It is right off of 1604. It is in another one of those higher end communities of San Antonio. Chavano Park is a very, very high end place, which is a very popular place too, right there in the heart of San Antonio. It's very unique because it has a lot of big trees, a lot of space, and Chavano Highlands is very similar. These lots are not the acres lots, 1 acre plus lots that are some of these other communities we've already talked about, but they're 90-foot wide. So you got a lot more space. You've got some bigger homes here, but it's really, really close to the community. Northside ISD schools, so really great school district too. In addition to being Northside ISD, it is right next to Cornerstone Christian School, which is one of the most popular private schools in all of San Antonio too. Price range here is, like I said, $1 million to like $1.4 million is some of the stuff that's sold in the last year. But I'm betting we're going to see some stuff in the near future that's maybe even a little bit over that. One thing to talk about with the investment of these types of homes, so Chavano Highlands is a good example. The other ones are very, very new, so there's not as much resale options to talk about. But Chavano Highlands, back whenever they first got developed, they were selling homes in this community for in the $500,000 to $600,000 range, and now it's starting at $1 million. So you can see the growth of this community, even though the homes themselves haven't changed a whole bunch. They've got a little bit bigger. There's not some of those slightly smaller homes that there were back, a few years ago, but at the same time, just looking at the appreciation in this community itself is a really good indicator of your potential investment long term. But of course, San Antonio is known for its affordability, and luxury is definitely not the only game in town. So let's start working down the ladder, getting lower and lower on prices as we go. We'll start at the kind of the mid-range luxury communities. I mean, kind of like the base luxury homes, I guess you could say, but working down to the more affordable homes, and then into the truly, affordable, super affordable $200,000 communities that San Antonio is probably known for quite a bit. Next up is one of my favorites, and that is Esperanza. Esperanza has won multiple awards. It is up in Bernie. For the development itself is just next level. So the amenities, the community itself, it's got elementary schools within the community. It's got multiple different parks, green spaces, the field because of the different builders. It's got gated communities within a gated community, and you got $1 million homes across the street from like $400,000 or $500,000 homes. So you have such a wide variety. Now, I'm not exaggerating when I say that the amenities here in Esperanza are probably top of the line when it comes to new home communities in all of San Antonio. So you have this really cool kind of Mediterranean style amenity center. You've got an adult pool, kids pool. You've got, lazy river. You've got sand volleyball courts. You've got a 4-acre dog park. You've got trails everywhere. A fully equipped fitness center with 450 acres of open space and over 20 miles of trails. The community itself is over 1,700 acres and is just absolutely massive. And I know they're continuing to develop, and they've been developing it for years, and it's going to go on for years and years to come too. Price range probably currently starts, I don't know if you can get much in the 400 brand new, but you're definitely starting at like that $500,000-$600,000 range and going on up to multi-million-dollar homes, with a lot of these, especially these big Highland homes, being right at about $1 million, with some other custom builders that I don't know if they're building any new homes over there in that little section with the multi-million-dollar homes, but you've got some that are, $1.5 to $2 million plus. The builders that you got in Esperanza are Perry Homes, Monticello, Scott Felder, Chesmar, and Highland Homes, and then new recently is Toll Brothers. So again, Toll Brothers showing up a lot on this list because they have just recently come back into the San Antonio market after a little bit of a hiatus. But for Esperanza specifically, they have opened up Regency at Esperanza, which is a 55 plus community with its own amenity center specifically for its 55 plus residents. It's got its own clubhouse, its own fitness center, its own pool, its own bar, and kind of like social kitchen type atmosphere, a full lifestyle director. I mean, it is built around the lifestyle of never having to leave that community for your social gatherings. Next up, we're going to go down the road a little ways to Mayfair. I've talked about Mayfair quite a bit on this channel because it is going to be such a big thing for New Braunfels that it's kind of highlighted being right there on that I-35 corridor going from New Braunfels to San Marcos and then to Austin. So for those of you guys who don't know, that San Antonio-Austin area is supposed to be the next big metroplex in the country. Mayfair itself is a $1.5 billion investment. It's 2,200 acres. It's on both sides of I-35. It's going to have 6,000 total residential units between single-family homes, townhomes, duplexes, multifamily properties. Most of the builders in Mayfair, which include Perry, Highland, Toll Brothers, and Coventry, are all kind of semi-customizable, I would say. So you don't have any of these true cookie cutter communities like are in our lower price points, where they just pop up a house and you have whatever finishes are there. You can build from dirt, pick out your lot, pick out your finishes, customize things as much as they will let you. Certain builders such as Highland and Perry can do lots of things like moving walls around, changing rooms in it, multiple different floor plans to choose from as well. So you have a lot of options in this community to really make it feel more like a custom home, even though you're on smaller, more traditional subdivision lots like you would see in the rest of San Antonio. Price points are like mid 400s and up. Again, kind of similar to what you see in Esperanza. Midtown Mayfair broke ground this year, so you're going to start seeing construction on that, that is its kind of main hub and its amenities and social, location with it's going to have like event center and all different kind of shops and restaurants as well. You've got a couple of the amenities that have opened already, which is the pump bike track and the disc golf course. Total is going to have 35 miles of trails and 330 acres of parks. And in the fall of this year, in 2025, the new Comau ISD elementary school within the community of Mayfair is going to open, which is going to be big for the people that are already buying in that community. Next up, staying in New Braunfels, we're going to go down the street a little bit to Veramendi. So Veramendi is more like on that north edge of New Braunfels between Bulverde and New Braunfels. So it's kind of starting to get more into that little hill country vibe. The community itself actually, with the entire development, whenever it's done, actually butts up against the Guadalupe River. Veramendi is 2,400 acres, plans for 6,000 homes there with over 480 acres of green spaces and parks. One of the things about Veramendi is that they do leave a lot of the trees. There's, not as much clear cutting here as you see in a lot of these other big communities that kind of have to do it to be able to fit the homes where they need to fit them. So they really try to work around a lot of the trees in a lot of these sections. And you see that a lot in the green space too with some of these big, century oak trees as well. There's going to be multiple mini centers. One of the ones that's already been open, it has the Ledge, which is a, big, huge pool with I believe it's got like an infinity edge too. And it's, got all the, other different typical things in an event center that the amenity center would have. There's some commercial stuff already in the community. Veramendi Elementary School is within the community, and it's been built out for a little while now. There's been lots of homes there for a good amount of time, and they still got years and years to go for this development. They are building some multifamily stuff in this community as well. As far as builders go, you've got Perry, you've got Highland, you've got Scott Felder, you've got Pulte, you've got Brightland. So you've got some really, really good builders in there. And then Pulte is actually building a section in there for Del Webb, which is their 55 plus division, I guess you could say, of Pulte, which is going to be just at 55 and older community, similar to what you got out on the west side of San Antonio. It's another Del Webb community right there within Veramendi. Now, lastly, when it comes to price point for Veramendi, you're going to see very similar again to these last two we're talking about, kind of in that $400,000 to $500,000 range, going all the way up to these $800,000-$900,000, big Highland homes and big Perry homes like what we've seen in the other two. So continuing on into some of these more mid-range luxury communities, Kinder Ranch is one that I would probably say fits right in the bill with these other ones, Mayfair, Veramendi, and Esperanza. Kinder Ranch is right there off of Borgfeld, north of Stone Oak in San Antonio. A really, really great location because it kind of surrounds the new Piper School. So the new Piper High School, which is a Comau ISD schools right there. You've got Piper Elementary and Piper Middle School as well. Basically, kids can walk to school, they can bike to school. Like it's really close by, which is really convenient for the parents in the area. Price point kind of starts in like that $500,000 range. There's not really much below that, but you've got some sections of Sunday Creek at Kinder Ranch that are up over $1 million for some of these big Toll Brother homes. You got some really great amenities with mini center with a pool with cabanas poolside. You've got really state-of-the-art fitness center, tons of walking trails connected to a greenway system, and there's also additional development that's going to continue again for years and years to come. These big developments like this, they just seem to keep on going and never ending, it feels like. Now, one thing I will mention, although the price point is kind of like that 500 to $1 million plus, there's most everything is in that kind of lower end. You're going to see a median price point of like $699. So basically that 500 to like that $800,000 range is kind of that sweet spot where a lot of the stuff is really selling at. Now we're going to take a little bit of a step down on price. Again, like I said, we're going to continue to go down to get to some of those most affordable builders and most affordable communities in all of San Antonio. So when it comes to the top selling community in the entire San Antonio area. That is Riverstone at West Point by D.R. Horton. So out on the west side of San Antonio, right off of Tally Road, D.R. Horton has a community that is literally just taking off like a rocket. I'm telling you, it has had 376 homes sold in the last 12 months. And that is very consistent with what I've seen in previous couple years. It is probably one of D.R. Horton's fastest selling communities in the entire country, would be my guess. But it's just insane. And the amenities that go with it are a big reason why. They've already got one big amenity center with a true, water slide tower. They've got a full-on fitness center, got a huge playground for the kids. They've got everything that you could ever need there. They also have lifestyle directors on site. They're also building a second amenity center, which is going to have lazy river, playgrounds, splash pad, and multiple other things as well once it's done. Price point here is very affordable, so much different than what we've been talking about. You're looking at around like the 230s for a starting price point, going all the way up to like the 460s, 470s. And these homes are basically 1,200 square feet, so kind of your typical starter homes with a single car garage, all the way up to these big 5-bedroom plus homes that are 3,500 square feet. Those are kind of those ones that are 450-ish. But you think about the price per square foot, 3,500 square feet for around 450. That's a really, really good price per square foot for those of you guys that are good at math and can do that kind of numbers. School district out on the west side, it's all Northside ISD. This one specifically feeds into Harlan High School. Next up is Vida on the south side of San Antonio. So Vida is a very, very unique community that has gotten a lot of hype around San Antonio. One, for its location, because there hasn't been a lot of developments like Vida on the south side of San Antonio. There's been developments down there, but they've been more in our more affordable, super affordable category like we're going to talk about in a second. Vida is still got some affordable options, but it's got a lot more than just that. You have a rare townhome situation with Sitterly. So they're building townhomes within the community that are basically starting in that like kind of mid 300s range and going on up to like 400-ish, maybe a little over 400, but starting at about 1,600 square feet, going up to like the low 2,000 square foot range. One thing that I'll say about Vida, and one of the reasons that I think Sitterly did this, was that they are focused a lot on the lifestyle and health and wellness of the community itself. Vida is in a very strategic location, being right next to Texas A&M San Antonio, which is got plans to be as big as UTSA is, University of Texas at San Antonio, which is our big campus, in the very near future. And they are developing just along those lines. So Vida is eventually going to kind of connect with the Vida Town Center. It's going to be accessible by both Texas A&M San Antonio and the community of Vida. You're also going to have a University Health Wellness Center that is within the community and is scheduled to open very soon. They actually just broke ground on it this year. The pool and clubhouse are scheduled to open this year, which is going to have like a swim-up bar area, outdoor kitchen, and fire pit lounges. The clubhouse is also going to have a full working kitchen, fitness center, and co-working spaces as well. Vida is also going to be San Antonio's first gig speed community, which means that the internet speed here is going to be faster than anything else in San Antonio so far as I can gather. But that is a big thing for the progression of the San Antonio market, especially on the south side of town. Not only is the location prime because it's located so close to Texas A&M San Antonio, it's located to some of the biggest employers in all of San Antonio. It is going to be right down the street from the Toyota campus. It is also going to be right down the street from the newest developments in San Antonio, which I have talked about in my last video that I just did. The new University Health, hospital is going to go literally right here next to this community. You're also going to have the JCB manufacturing facility, which is right down the road, which is similar to Caterpillar, a big, basically tractor and engine manufacturer. The builders in Vida are very unique. So I mentioned Sitterly with the townhomes, but in addition to Sitterly, you're going to have Lennar, which is one of our super affordable builders, which we're going to get into in just a second, and Perry and Highland Homes. Never have I seen Perry and Highland Homes mixed in with Lennar. So typically they are, in like what we've talked about already, kind of these higher end communities, but they have taken a unique approach and they see something coming to this area of San Antonio, which, these bigger, higher price builders are coming down here. I would expect to see some major growth long-term in this area. The price point in Vida is going to be starting at $200,000 for some of these Lennar homes, all the way up to the $600,000 range for some of these Perry and Highland homes. Now, if you're thinking that some of these we've been talking about with these $500,000, $400,000, $600,000, $700,000, $1 million price points sound a little bit too expensive for you, then what we're going to talk about next is going to be what you're probably looking for, and that is the most affordable builders in the entire area of San Antonio with the most options for sale. So first off, let's talk about Lennar. I've already mentioned Lennar a little bit. Lennar is by far the most affordable builder in all of San Antonio. You've got price ranges for Lennar basically starting at $135,000 homes all the way up to like the mid 400s is as high as they go. And you're talking about homes that are looking like 800 square foot, kind of little tiny homes, right? And it goes up to basically like 2,400-ish square foot homes in some of their higher selling, higher end, higher price communities. They currently offer 108 different communities in the San Antonio area with hundreds of different floor plans to choose from. And you're looking at over 900 homes currently actively for sale right now in 2025. Lennar does have this thing called a everything's included promise, which basically means stainless steel appliances, granite countertops, blinds, washer, dryer, refrigerator, smart home, newer technology systems as well. So I will give a caveat with that. That's not every single community offers this, but it is something that they do advertise. So it is kind of a perk of looking at that if you want something that, especially if you need to move into a new house and you're coming from an apartment where you don't have anything, getting that washer, dryer, refrigerator, blinds, garage door opener, all that stuff is something you really need. That way it's kind of set up, ready to go. You just move in your stuff and you're ready to go. Now, I will say this. Again, as a real estate agent, I work with tons of people buying new houses, especially Lennar and some of these other builders we talked about. And these things are always negotiable. If we want, the washer, dryer, refrigerator, we can go in and try to make an offer on these houses and get some of that stuff. And that's all things that we can talk about whenever y'all are ready to move forward and start looking at some of these new homes. So when it comes to a couple neighborhoods that you can look at for Lennar, we'll look at a couple different locations, right? So we'll talk about Brookstone, which is on the west side of San Antonio. It is one of their higher level communities, which has, homes that are, brick and stone facades in the front. You've got 9-foot ceilings in there instead of the 8-foot ceilings and some of the lower priced options. You've got a little bit higher end finishes like quartz countertops and bigger kitchens, better finishes on the door handles, light fixtures, and the plumbing fixtures as well. Brookstone specifically has a really great amenity center with a pool, clubhouse, fitness center, and playground, and some really outstanding views too. Like there's some of these houses that are up on a hilltop that you can see for miles, which is really, really cool, really unique as well. Brookstone being on that west side of San Antonio is a great location for those of y'all that are commuting into like Lackland Air Force Base or even commuting down into downtown San Antonio. It's not too bad of a drive from there. Going into Lennar's highest and fastest selling community, that is actually over in Seguin of all places. That is Navarro Ranch. Navarro Ranch has homes starting at like $170,000, and in the last 12 months, they have sold 304 homes in Navarro Ranch in little old Seguin, just south of New Braunfels and east of San Antonio. You basically get the full range of home options available from Lennar in Navarro Ranch, minus the tiny homes. You get like 1,200 square foot homes all the way up to like 2,400 square foot homes. A lot of the, you've got some of them that are more affordable option, which is the ones with no garage, just, kind of a typical 1,200 square foot house with no garage. And then some of those that are, more brick and rock facades and exteriors that are upwards of that 2,400 square foot. They've got single story and 2-story options as well. The price range here is at $170,000 all the way up to that $380,000 price point for some of their higher end quality finishes. I think Navarro Ranch's big benefit is the fact that it has a massively ridiculous amenity center. It's very similar to what Riverstone at West Point has with the huge, water slide tower. It's got big fitness center, huge pool, splash pad, playground, like everything that you could need. And this community is a big draw for the community of Seguin. It's also in Navarro ISD, which is a pretty highly rated school district too. In addition to Seguin and Brookstone, you've got the Converse communities, which is another area that is developing like crazy right now. If you drive out through there, you're going to see neighborhoods popping up everywhere. Lennar has multiples in this area. This is where that tiny home community, which is Flora Meadows, is located. Again, 800-ish square foot homes starting at $135,000. Kind of crazy to see when you look at it, but it is a great option for those of you guys that just want a house that you can own and put some investment into your future and purchase something instead of just renting for your entire life. It is a great option. A couple other neighborhoods in that area is like Rose Valley and Savannah Place, but Converse is a good spot, very easily located from Randolph Air Force Base and also to Fort Sam Houston. So for those of you that are just starting off in the military and being stationed in one of these two places, you want to buy a house, this is a great opportunity to buy a really affordable house in a growing area of San Antonio and use that BAH, your basic allowance for housing, towards owning something, maybe keeping it long term as an investment if you're going to be here for a few years and then moving off, or just simply buying it and putting it towards getting that VA loan, not putting any money down and using your BAH towards everything you need for your housing payment. Next up on our affordable builders list, we have, of course, D.R. Horton, which we have already talked about with Riverstone at West Point. There are currently hundreds of homes available across the D.R. Horton's list throughout the San Antonio community, and they sell pretty quickly because they build a very, very good quality, affordable product, in my opinion. I've probably had more clients buy D.R. Horton homes than any other builder just simply because of its quality of construction, even though it's a more affordable product. Now, I know people in the comments, you could say all your experiences as well. I want everybody to know everything they possibly get into. But again, my clients that have bought with D.R. Horton have had great experiences. And in my opinion, they build a solid house for a great price. You're looking at homes that range from 1,000 square feet all the way up to those massive 3,500 square foot homes that we talked about a minute ago. Price points is basically low 200, right at 200,000, all the way up to that mid $500,000 price point too. They've got communities all over the area. Again, I can mention these for, I'd probably talk through an entire video just on D.R. Horton communities, but you got Riverstone or West Point, which is their fastest selling community. You've got Brookstone Creek, which is one of the few new home developments within Stone Oak. It's not truly Stone Oak, but it's east of Stone Oak, but it is within the Northeast ISD. It's Johnson High School, so that is a very, very popular spot because of that school district. You've got multiples in New Braunfels, multiples in Seguin, Royal Ranch in Seguin, for example. In New Braunfels, you've got Winding Creek and Sanger Hall Meadows and a couple of those other ones too. They've also got multiple communities in the south side of San Antonio. They've got Copper Canyon, which are just finishing up in Bulverde. So I mean, literally all over the San Antonio area, there's D.R. Horton homes, and really, really good homes too. And a big thing that D.R. Horton has a lot of really is these really, really nice amenity centers. So like Lennar's, like I said, incredibly affordable, but these lower priced homes, these $200,000 homes that they build, if it's just like that price, they typically don't have a big amenity center. They may have a pool, may have a little small clubhouse, but it's usually smaller. For the most part, from what I've seen, D.R. Horton and just about all their communities puts a very extravagant amenity center in place, and it's a very attractive thing for a lot of the residents. When it comes to both Lennar and D.R. Horton, especially with the financing options, they do a lot of programs to help, especially first-time buyers, get into these more affordable options. They have down payment assistance programs. They can get access to some of the state down payment assistance programs. They give some of the best incentives out of all the builders as far as interest rates and closing cost coverage. It is very rare that I have somebody that's buying a D.R. Horton or Lennar home and they pay any closing cost out of pocket. It's typically all covered, and they also do really, really good on their interest rates. Like I mentioned earlier, that 4.5% interest rate, that was a D.R. Horton home. So Lennar, I've actually also had I'm just thinking about this now. I've had some D.R. Horton people get 3.99% interest rates recently too. So that is very, very community specific on which ones that they put the money towards for those, because it's a very long and elaborate process of kind of how they get these interest rate buy downs. I can explain those in a call whenever we talk about it. But again, these companies, because they have such large volume, they're able to put more money into each individual house because they run on rates within margins for selling these homes. And they're more concerned with selling more homes than they are with selling high-priced homes at a big profit, like some of the bigger builders, more high-priced builders are. So now that we've covered the luxury, we've covered the mid-range, we've covered the super affordable options, let me talk to you guys a little bit about what makes each of these communities special and makes it worth your investment. Each one has their own unique perks, and I want to kind of break down a little bit of each of the general areas that we've talked about. When it comes to lifestyle transformation benefits, think about the Esperanzas, the Mayfairs, the Veramindis, the Vitas. Like, those are really focused on the lifestyle of their residents and everything being all-inclusive within the community. You've got schools, you've got commercial, residential, retail, restaurants, all within the community itself. When it comes to school district impact, think about the Bernie ISDs, all the ones we talked about with Bernie ISD, Como ISD, Northside ISD. I mean, those are very highly rated district. Navarro ISD, very highly rated school districts within the San Antonio metro area, and very desirable for a lot of different reasons, but especially looking at their school ratings. Think about the employment proximity. So look at VITA, like the sheer amount of job opportunities that are coming to the area. So for you guys that are looking, trying to learn what San Antonio is about, because you're moving and going to be working at one of these places that they're building down there, the employment options for being very, very close to VITA are really, really awesome. It's really outstanding. And just overall, just the community itself, like most of these communities we're talking about outside of really Chavano Highlands is outside of the general San Antonio area. I mean, they're on the outskirts of town. So commuting into town, you kind of get to pick your option as far as where you want to be, depending on where you're working. So if your job's going to be on the northeast side, you look at Enchanted Bluff, you look at some of these Converse communities. You look at, maybe even some of the New Braunfels or Seguin communities if you're willing to drive a little bit further. But you on the west side, you got, like Riverstone at West Point, you've got Brook Mill with Lennar, you've got, a couple others that from west side, honestly, we didn't even talk a whole lot about that. The far west side is the hottest developing area with the most new construction homes and the most new construction developments going in a single area in the entire area of San Antonio. Outside of maybe looking at like that New Braunfels Seguin area, those two are kind of one and the same, but the west side probably still has them beat out. So you have the most options for different new home communities out there. Look at investment potential. Think about these New Braunfels communities. New Braunfels has doubled in population since 2000 and is expected to double again by 2040. And that growth between San Antonio and Austin, like I said, is just going to be massive in the very near future. So you're going to see New Braunfels start to expand. Seguin is going to be kind of sucked up into it as well. That's why you're seeing a lot of that development happen in Seguin when it has been and historically a lot smaller town, and that's where you go to kind of get away from New Braunfels, be close to it, but a lot more affordable. It's still the same, still that case, but the growth in Seguin is outstanding because of that whole potential, the metro area growing that direction. And when you look at early investment returns in ththese areas, especially looking at Baramendi being there for a while, a lot of the people that bought early on in Baramendi have seen 30+% appreciation since they bought in that community. Now let's talk about some of these honest challenges. And again, it's going to vary by individual neighborhood. So it's hard to kind of generalize and talk specifics about all of these as a whole and what is the general challenge of the whole thing, right? But you look at some of the big ones that come up with San Antonio as a whole, you look at property taxes. Biggest thing that is always talked about in the comments, honestly, is that people cannot stand the high amount of property taxes that Texas has. Think about this way. We've talked about this before. This all goes towards your public schools. There's no state income tax, of course. I know there's other areas that the tax band, other states that have a lower tax burden than Texas, but you look at some of these new home communities. I mentioned Bell Oaks, 1.74%. You've got areas, high-end neighborhoods, which you didn't talk about in this video, Cordillera Ranch, that are like 1.3-ish%. But you do have other communities that are higher because of various different independent neighborhood taxes, such as mud tax like Esperanza or water control district like George's Ranch, that make those property taxes go up to that 2.3, 2.4, 2.5% range. Or if they're closer into the city, such as Chavano Highlands, you're looking at around that 2.3, 2.4% in there, just because that's what the typical property tax range in San Antonio in the city limits is. You've also got traffic, of course. I mean, any growing area is going to experience traffic headaches. You've got, a lot of different road construction that's going on. It's going to help alleviate a lot of that, but you still can't get away from it completely. New Braunfels itself, because it's grown so fast and it used to be so small, the traffic there can be pretty rough, especially on some of those inner city streets with a lot of those stoplights. But again, you take the good with the bad because everything that you ever need is right there in New Braunfels. Also think about water restrictions. Water restrictions here lately, because we are in a pretty heavy drought right now in 2025. You see a lot of these neighborhoods that have limited landscaping that you can really do because of the drastic water restrictions that are in place. So they do a lot more xeriscaping, put a little bit more mulch in the yard instead of more grass. But the water restrictions themselves are ultimately implemented by the water utility provider, not really the developer themselves, but they do try to mitigate some of those things because of that. I think the biggest thing to look at with these communities is your overall quality of life and what that really is worth to you. So you look at these retirement communities with the 55 plus, you look at some of these with these acreage communities for, those that are retiring and want to have that really nice luxury home for your retirement and for the grandkids and everything to come over and spend some time at. The social aspects of these communities with the amenity centers of the HOAs and the local amenities of like New Braunfels or like Bernie specifically and everything that goes with that. The walkability of the community. Can you get everything you need within the community itself? It's very rare, very hard to find other places of San Antonio. Are there elementary schools within the community so you could walk your kids to school? They could walk with their friends to school as they get older. I mean, are those big factors for you? And now that you know where the best new home communities in all San Antonio are for 2025, I would love for you guys again to reach out. Any questions whatsoever, comment down below your thoughts. What did I miss in this video? I know there's going to be tons of different communities that people would love to have seen on this video, but again, comment and let me know. We can have all those conversations. Let everybody else know that's looking for something just like this, what other options are out there. And moving forward, again, if you have any questions, like I said multiple times in this video, do not hesitate to reach out. You can email, you can go into the description down below. There's a link there to schedule a Zoom call, which I would love to get face-to-face with you guys. It's with me personally. You'll be talking straight with me and get you kind of comfortable and familiar with what you need to do if you're thinking about moving to San Antonio or any of these other suburb areas we've been talking about. And if you want to look at some of the most wealthy neighborhoods in all of San Antonio. Take a look at this video right here. This is some of the neighborhoods that, in my opinion, are hidden gems. Take a look at that one. And until the next one, guys, we'll see you there.